Retail return policies exist to handle legitimate issues with defective products, sizing problems, and genuine customer dissatisfaction. Then there are these customers who apparently thought that return policies were suggestions and that retail workers would accept literally anything as long as it was presented with enough confidence. These are real return attempts that prove some people have never met a receipt requirement or return policy they couldn't ignore. One customer tried to return a half-eaten sandwich to an electronics store, claiming that the sandwich was defective technology because it didn't taste as good as advertised, and that food was basically edible technology requiring technical support. They insisted that the electronics store should handle all consumer products regardless of category, and that their sandwich dissatisfaction warranted a full refund from any retail establishment. The customer became frustrated when store employees explained that electronics stores don't sell or return food items, and demanded to speak with technical support about their sandwich performance issues. 2. A determined shopper attempted to return a live goldfish to a clothing store, arguing that the fish was the wrong color for their home decor, and that all retail establishments should accept returns of any purchased items regardless of store category. They brought the fish in a small bowl and insisted that since stores sell colorful items, they should be able to exchange their goldfish for one that better matched their interior design preferences. Store employees had to explain that clothing stores don't carry live animals and suggested visiting an actual pet store for fish-related returns. 3. Someone tried to return a homemade sweater to a department store, claiming they had forgotten where they originally purchased the obviously hand-knitted item that still had loose yarn ends and amateur stitching visible throughout. They presented no receipt but insisted that the sweater looked similar to items sold in the store, and that handmade quality should qualify for return consideration since it was artisanal retail merchandise. The customer became argumentative when told that stores only accept returns of items actually purchased from their establishment rather than homemade crafts. 4. A creative customer attempted to return a rental car to a grocery store, explaining that they had finished using their transportation purchase and expected a refund since the car rental period had ended and they no longer needed the vehicle. They parked the rental car in the grocery store parking lot and brought the keys inside, demanding to speak with management about their vehicle return and asking where they should leave the car for processing. Store employees had to explain that grocery stores don't rent or return vehicles and directed them to the actual car rental company. 5. One individual tried to return a pizza slice to a bookstore, claiming that the food was too cheesy for their literary experience, and that bookstores should handle food returns since people eat while reading books. They brought the partially eaten pizza slice in a napkin and insisted that bookstore cafes meant all bookstores should accept food returns, demanding a refund for their unsatisfactory dining experience. The bookstore staff explained that they don't sell food and suggested returning pizza complaints to the restaurant where it was actually purchased. 6. A persistent customer attempted to return used underwear to a hardware store, arguing that the underwear was defective personal safety equipment and that hardware stores should handle returns of all safety-related products, regardless of category. They claimed that underwear provided personal protection similar to work gear, and that comfort issues qualified as safety defects requiring professional retail intervention. Hardware store employees had to explain that they don't sell or return personal clothing items and suggested visiting appropriate clothing retailers. 7. Someone tried to return a houseplant to a toy store, insisting that the plant was a defective green toy that wouldn't respond to play attempts and required troubleshooting or replacement with a more interactive version. They claimed that since toys are supposed to be fun and plants are sold for entertainment, their unresponsive plant qualified for return as broken recreational equipment. The toy store staff explained that plants aren't toys and suggested visiting a garden center for plant-related concerns rather than expecting toy return policies to apply to living organisms. 8. A confused shopper attempted to return their monthly utility bill to a furniture store, claiming that their electric bill was too expensive for their home furnishing budget and that furniture stores should handle all home-related expenses, including utilities. They brought their electric bill and demanded a refund, arguing that expensive utilities interfered with furniture purchasing power and that stores should provide bill-paying assistance. Furniture store employees had to explain that utility bills aren't returnable merchandise and suggested contacting the electric company directly. 9. One customer tried to return a library book to a pharmacy explaining that the book had expired information and that pharmacies should handle returns of all expired products regardless of whether they actually sell books. They claimed that medical information in the book was outdated and potentially dangerous, requiring pharmaceutical expertise to process returns of health-related reading materials. Pharmacy staff explained that they don't sell or return books and suggested returning library materials to the actual library where they were borrowed. 10. A determined individual attempted to return a sunburn to a cosmetic store, demanding a refund for their defective tanning experience, and insisting that beauty stores should handle all appearance-related problems, including sun damage. They claimed that their sunburn was a cosmetic issue requiring professional beauty consultation, and that cosmetic stores should provide skin tone correction services. Store employees explained that sunburns aren't returnable products and suggested using appropriate sun protection and skincare products available for purchase. 11. Someone tried to return a neighbor's cat to a pet supply store, claiming they had accidentally purchased the cat and needed to return their pet acquisition mistake for a full refund. They brought their neighbor's confused cat in a carrier and insisted that since pet stores sell animals, they should accept returns of any cats regardless of purchase origin. Pet store staff had to explain that they only accept returns of animals actually purchased from their store and suggested returning the cat to its actual owner rather than attempting retail returns. 12. A creative customer attempted to return their haircut to a grocery store, arguing that their styling experience was unsatisfactory food preparation because hair salons and kitchens both involve cutting and that grocery stores should handle all cutting-related dissatisfaction. They demanded a refund for their haircut cost and insisted that grocery stores understand cutting techniques and should provide hair-related customer service. Grocery store employees explained that haircuts aren't grocery products and suggested addressing styling concerns with the actual hair salon. 13. One person tried to return a used tissue to an electronics store, claiming the tissue was defective absorbent technology that hadn't performed according to specifications and required technical evaluation by electronics experts. They brought the obviously used tissue in a bag and insisted that absorption issues required technological troubleshooting and that electronics stores should handle all technology-related problems. Store staff explained that tissues aren't electronic products and that hygiene items aren't returnable once used. 14. A persistent shopper attempted to return their parking ticket to a clothing store, arguing that the citation was defective legal merchandise and that retail stores should handle all paper-based customer service issues, including legal documents. They claimed that parking tickets were expensive paper products requiring retail return policies, and that clothing stores should provide legal customer service since they handle receipts and tags. Store employees explained that parking tickets aren't retail merchandise and suggested contacting parking enforcement directly. 15. Someone tried to return a handful of dirt to a jewelry store, claiming they had purchased organic gemstones that turned out to be regular soil and demanding a refund for their geological investment fraud. They brought dirt in a small bag and insisted that since jewelry stores sell earth-based products, they should accept returns of any earth materials that failed to meet precious metal standards. Jewelry store staff explained that they don't sell dirt and that soil isn't considered gemstone merchandise requiring return policies. 16. A confused customer attempted to return their driver's license to a sporting goods store, explaining that their license was defective identification sports equipment that didn't work properly for recreational identification purposes. They claimed that since sporting goods stores sell equipment for various activities, driver's licenses qualified as identification equipment, requiring sports retail expertise. Store employees had to explain that driver's licenses aren't sporting goods and suggested contacting the Department of Motor Vehicles for identification concerns. 17. One individual tried to return a used bandage to a bookstore, insisting that the bandage was defective medical literature that hadn't provided adequate healing information and required return processing by establishments that handle informational products. They claimed that medical supplies should include written instructions like books, and that bookstores should handle returns of all information-related health products. Bookstore staff explained that medical supplies aren't literature and suggested addressing medical concerns with healthcare providers rather than book retailers. 18. A determined person attempted to return their dental filling to a home improvement store, arguing that the filling was defective home repair work, and that hardware stores should handle all repair-related customer service, including dental repairs. They claimed that both home improvement and dental work involved fixing things, and that hardware stores should understand repair quality issues. Store employees explained that dental work isn't home improvement, and suggested addressing dental concerns with healthcare providers rather than hardware retailers. 19. Someone tried to return a cloud to a mattress store, claiming they had purchased atmospheric bedding that was too soft, and requesting exchange for firmer cloud options with better sleep support characteristics. They pointed outside at clouds and insisted that since mattresses provide comfort, sky-based comfort should qualify for mattress store return policies. Store staff explained that clouds aren't retail merchandise, and that weather isn't subject to store return policies or customer service intervention. 20. A creative customer attempted to return their headache to a music store, demanding a refund for their audio-induced discomfort experience, and insisting that music stores should handle all sound-related health problems, including pain management. They claimed that since music affects hearing, music stores should provide medical customer service for audio-related health issues and accept returns of negative listening experiences. Music store employees explained that headaches aren't returnable merchandise and suggested consulting healthcare providers for medical concerns. 21. One person tried to return a rainbow to an art supply store, arguing that the rainbow was defective natural artwork with poor color coordination and demanding replacement with better designed atmospheric art displays. They insisted that since art stores sell colorful products, natural color displays should qualify for artistic return policies and professional color consultation services. Art store staff explained that weather phenomena aren't retail products, and that rainbow quality isn't subject to store policies or artistic customer service standards. 22. A persistent shopper attempted to return their bad mood to a toy store, claiming they had purchased emotional entertainment that failed to provide happiness and requesting a refund for their defective recreational feelings. They insisted that toy stores should handle all entertainment-related dissatisfaction, including emotional experiences, and that mood improvement was part of recreational retail customer service. Store employees explained that emotions aren't toy products and suggested addressing mood concerns through appropriate mental health resources rather than retail returns. 23. Someone tried to return Gravity to a sporting goods store, claiming that Gravity was defective athletic equipment that interfered with their sports performance and requesting exchange for lighter gravitational forces more suitable for recreational activities. They insisted that since sporting goods affect athletic performance, gravitational forces should qualify for sports equipment return policies and performance enhancement customer service. Store staff explained that physics isn't sporting goods merchandise and that gravitational forces aren't subject to retail return policies. 24. A confused customer attempted to return the alphabet to an office supply store, arguing that letters were defective writing tools that weren't arranged in optimal order for their communication needs, and requesting alphabetical reorganization services. They claimed that office supply stores should handle all writing-related customer service, including letter arrangement, and that alphabet design qualified for office equipment return policies. Office supply employees explained that the alphabet isn't retail merchandise and that letter systems aren't subject to store return policies or reorganization services. 25. One individual tried to return their shadow to a lighting store, insisting that their shadow was defective darkness equipment with poor shape definition and demanding replacement with better designed personal darkness that matched their lighting preferences. They claimed that lighting stores should handle all light and dark related issues, and that shadow quality qualified for illumination equipment customer service policies. Lighting store staff explained that shadows aren't retail products, and that personal darkness isn't subject to lighting store return policies or shadow improvement services. 26. A determined person attempted to return mathematics to a calculator store, claiming that numbers were defective calculation tools that produced unwanted results and requesting replacement with mathematical systems that provided more favorable computational outcomes. They insisted that calculator stores should handle all number-related problems and that mathematical dissatisfaction qualified for computational equipment return policies. Store employees explained that mathematics isn't retail merchandise and that numerical systems aren't subject to calculator store customer service or mathematical modification policies. 27. Someone tried to return their birthday to a party supply store, arguing that their birthday was defective celebration equipment that hadn't provided adequate party experiences and requesting exchange for better personal holidays with improved festive characteristics. They claimed that party supply stores should handle all celebration-related dissatisfaction, and that birthday quality qualified for party equipment return policies and celebration customer service. Party store staff explained that birthdays aren't retail products and that personal holidays aren't subject to party supply return policies. 28. A creative customer attempted to return winter to a clothing store, demanding a refund for defective seasonal wear requirements and insisting that clothing stores should handle weather-related problems that affect wardrobe needs and fashion planning decisions. They claimed that cold weather created expensive clothing requirements and that seasonal dissatisfaction qualified for fashion retail customer service and weather return policies. Clothing store employees explained that seasons aren't retail merchandise and that weather patterns aren't subject to fashion store return policies or seasonal customer service intervention. 29. One person tried to return their height to a shoe store, claiming they had purchased their physical dimensions and were dissatisfied with their defective body measurements that affected shoe fitting and footwear selection processes. They insisted that shoe stores should handle all size-related problems, including personal dimensions, and that height dissatisfaction qualified for footwear customer service and body measurement return policies. Shoe store staff explained that physical attributes aren't retail products, and that personal dimensions aren't subject to footwear return policies or body modification services. 30. A persistent shopper attempted to return the concept of Tuesday to a calendar store, arguing that Tuesday was a defective weekly product, with poor scheduling characteristics and demanding replacement with better-designed weekdays that provided superior daily experiences. They claimed that calendar stores should handle all time-related customer service, and that weekday quality qualified for temporal merchandise return policies and scheduling improvement services. Calendar store employees explained that days of the week aren't retail products, and that time isn't subject to calendar store return policies or weekly customer service modification. 31. Someone tried to return their personality to a bookstore, insisting that their character traits were defective personal literature that didn't match their preferred self-narrative and requesting exchange for better personality characteristics with improved social functionality. They claim that bookstores should handle all character-related issues since personality involves personal stories, and that identity dissatisfaction qualified for literary customer service policies. Bookstore staff explained that personality traits aren't retail merchandise and that personal characteristics aren't subject to bookstore return policies or character modification services. 32. A confused customer attempted to return oxygen to a sporting goods store, claiming that breathing was defective athletic performance equipment that required too much effort and requesting replacement with more efficient respiratory systems for improved exercise experiences. They insisted that sporting goods stores should handle all performance-related problems, including breathing efficiency, and that oxygen quality qualified for athletic equipment return policies. Store employees explained that atmospheric gases aren't sporting goods and that breathing isn't subject to sports equipment, return policies, or respiratory customer service intervention. 33. One individual tried to return their memories to a photo store, arguing that their recollections were defective image storage equipment, with poor quality recall and demanding memory upgrades or refunds for unsatisfactory mental photography experiences. They claimed that photo stores should handle all image-related problems, including mental pictures, and that memory dissatisfaction qualified for photographic equipment customer service policies. Photo store staff explained that memories aren't retail products, and that mental recall isn't subject to photography store return policies or cognitive customer service modification. 34. A determined person attempted to return the color blue to a paint store, insisting that blue was a defective color product that didn't match their aesthetic preferences and requesting exchange for personally customized color options that better suited their visual needs. They claimed that paint stores should handle all color-related dissatisfaction, including color theory problems, and that blue quality qualified for paint customer service and color return policies. Paint store employees explained that individual colors aren't returnable merchandise and that color concepts aren't subject to paint store customer service or chromatic modification policies. 35. Someone tried to return their appetite to a restaurant supply store, claiming that hunger was defective eating equipment that activated at inconvenient times and requesting replacement with better scheduled digestive systems that match their meal planning preferences. They insisted that restaurant supply stores should handle all eating-related problems, and that appetite timing qualified for food service equipment customer service policies. Store staff explained that biological functions aren't restaurant supplies, and that hunger isn't subject to food service return policies or digestive customer service intervention. 36. A creative customer attempted to return the number 7 to a mathematics supply store, arguing that 7 was a defective numerical product, with awkward counting characteristics and demanding replacement with more user-friendly numbers that provided better mathematical experiences. They claimed that mathematics stores should handle all number-related dissatisfaction, and that numerical quality qualified for mathematical equipment, return policies, and counting customer service. Store employees explained that individual numbers aren't retail products, and that mathematical concepts aren't subject to mathematics supply return policies or numerical modification services. 37. One person tried to return their hiccups to a medical supply store, insisting that hiccups were defective breathing accessories that malfunctioned during normal respiratory activities, and requesting replacement with properly functioning respiratory enhancement equipment. They claimed that medical supply stores should handle all breathing-related problems, and that hiccup quality qualified for medical equipment, customer service policies, and respiratory return procedures. Medical supply staff explained that bodily functions aren't medical supplies, and that hiccups aren't subject to medical equipment return policies or respiratory customer service intervention. 38. A persistent shopper attempted to return their dreams to a bedding store, claiming that their sleep experiences were defective rest products that didn't provide satisfactory entertainment during sleeping hours, and requesting exchange for better dream content with improved narrative quality. They insisted that bedding stores should handle all sleep-related customer service, and that dream quality qualified for sleep equipment return policies and nocturnal entertainment services. Bedding store employees explained that dreams aren't retail merchandise, and that sleep experiences aren't subject to bedding return policies or dream content customer service modification. 39. Someone tried to return their heartbeat to a fitness equipment store, arguing that their pulse was defective exercise monitoring equipment that provided inaccurate performance data, and requesting replacement with more reliable cardiovascular measurement systems. They claimed that fitness stores should handle all heart-related problems since cardio equipment monitors heartbeats, and that pulse quality qualified for fitness equipment customer service policies. Fitness store staff explained that biological functions aren't exercise equipment, and that heartbeats aren't subject to fitness equipment return policies or cardiovascular customer service intervention. 40. A confused customer attempted to return their thought process to a computer store, insisting that their thinking was defective mental software that produced unwanted cognitive results, and requesting upgrades to more efficient brain processing systems with better intellectual performance characteristics. They claimed that computer stores should handle all processing-related problems, and that mental software quality qualified for technology customer service policies and cognitive return procedures. Computer store employees explained that human thoughts aren't computer software, and that thinking isn't subject to technology return policies or mental processing customer service modification. 41. One individual tried to return their sense of smell to a perfume store, claiming that their olfactory system was defective fragrance detection equipment that couldn't properly distinguish scent differences, and requesting replacement with more sensitive aromatic perception capabilities. They insisted that perfume stores should handle all smell-related problems, and that scent detection quality qualified for fragrance customer service policies and olfactory equipment return procedures. Perfume store staff explained that sensory organs aren't retail products, and that smell isn't subject to fragrance return policies or olfactory customer service intervention. 42. A determined person attempted to return their laughter to a comedy store, arguing that their sense of humor was defective entertainment software that didn't respond appropriately to comedic content, and requesting exchange for better humor appreciation systems with improved comedy compatibility. They claimed that comedy stores should handle all laughter-related customer service, and that humor quality qualified for entertainment return policies and comedic response modification services. Comedy Store employees explained that sense of humor isn't retail merchandise and that laughter isn't subject to Comedy Store return policies or humor customer service intervention. 43. Someone tried to return their coordination to a sports equipment store, insisting that their motor skills were defective athletic hardware that malfunctioned during physical activities, and requesting replacement with more reliable movement systems that provided better sports performance. They claimed that sports stores should handle all coordination problems, and that motor skill quality qualified for athletic equipment, customer service policies, and physical performance return procedures. Sports store staff explained that motor skills aren't sports equipment, and that coordination isn't subject to athletic equipment, return policies, or movement customer service modification. 44. A creative customer attempted to return their imagination to an art supply store, claiming that their creativity was defective artistic software that produced inadequate inspirational content, and requesting upgrades to more productive creative processing systems with enhanced artistic functionality. They insisted that art stores should handle all imagination-related problems, and that creative quality qualified for artistic supply customer service policies and inspiration return procedures. Art supply employees explained that imagination isn't retail merchandise and that creativity isn't subject to art supply return policies or inspirational customer service intervention. 45. And finally, the ultimate impossible return occurred when someone tried to return the entire concept of returning items to a customer service training center, arguing that return policies were defective retail software that created too many restrictions and demanding replacement with more customer-friendly return systems that accepted all items regardless of logic, origin, or possibility. They claimed that customer service centers should handle returns of return policies themselves and that retail restriction quality qualified for meta customer service policies and return procedures. They insisted that if stores could sell return policies, they should also accept returns of return policy dissatisfaction, creating an infinite loop of return policy returns that would revolutionize retail customer service through recursive return procedures that addressed return policy problems. Customer service staff explained that return policies aren't returnable merchandise, and that the concept of returning returns created philosophical paradoxes that exceeded retail customer service capabilities, and required consultation with logic professors rather than store managers. Here's the truth about retail returns. Stores will work with customers on legitimate return issues, but they're not obligated to accept items they didn't sell, things that don't exist, or concepts that defy basic logic and retail reality. These return attempts prove that some customers think the customer is always right means stores should accept anything that walks through their doors regardless of physics, sanity, or whether they actually sell that type of merchandise. The real return here should be common sense, but apparently that's not available in stores and can't be exchanged for store credit. Subscribe for more proof that retail workers deserve hazard pay for dealing with customers who think return policies are just friendly suggestions rather than actual business requirements.